Party moves back to Happy Valley on Wednesday night for an 8-race programme on the back of an exciting day's action from Sha Tin on Sunday. We're here to preview all 8 races. Very warm welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Lejeune, joined here in the studio by Paul Lally, our form expert, and caller Brett Davis as well. And Brett, feature race is a really decent sprint open contest, and again, the good races all at the back end of the card.
They are, yeah. Rail will be in the C+3 position as well, so the widest point for the rail for the 8-race card at Happy Valley on Wednesday. I thought overall it was quite a competitive card. The first couple of races look extremely difficult to try and sort out, but we'll be doing our best to do so. Yeah,
there's some interesting runners, isn't there, Paul, at the Valley, but there's a decent jackpot as well from the 6-up.
Yeah, 6-up is 4.4 million, so a decent jackpot there. And as you said, there's a few interesting runners, a few being downgraded, a few going up in the grades as well that look quite progressive as well. So all in all, it's an interesting card. You wouldn't want anything odds on. I know there's one at the moment. There's obviously been a big bet earlier on Beauty Connection, but you wouldn't want to take anything odds on Sunday.
No, and in that same race, Lucky Lucky's an interesting horse.
And he was odds on debut.
That's right, yeah, coming to Happy Valley. He's trialled particularly well there. We'll see that trial a little later on. But he was disappointing on debut, but young horses can be entitled to a little forgive.
They have. They put a tongue tie on, though, so that sort of leads you to believe that maybe he had a little issue there. We'll find out in due course. All of that to come as the preview is concerned. Let's look back on the weekend's action, though, first with our racing review. Now, lots of discussion points out of the weekend's action. Let's start, though, with the feature race, which was the Pokoi Cup, and it looked very competitive. Master Albert was a big talking horse last year, wide at the moment. Again, came in with a lot riding on his shoulders, but Super Fluke blew him away.
He did. No, he's had a stable change. He had a trial, which pointed to this as well. He got a perfect run. Brett Preble had him really nicely just behind the leaders, got the gap, and away he went. So he always threatened to do this. I must admit, I thought he was better over a mile, but the way he's sprinted fresh up over 1200 was good. Master Albert, I mean, he's got wide draws. He's costly because he's got out short price favourite every time, but a wide draw once again, you'd stick with him with a low draw.
Yeah, I think maybe getting to 1400 might be a little better for him too, because it's sort of, they don't go quite as quick through the first sectional, and he's obviously looking for a little bit more ground. He's a talented horse, Master Albert, but take nothing away from the winner, Super Fluke. Yeah. I must admit, I overlooked him. I thought the trial leading in was terrific. We spoke about that trial and have done on numerous occasions in the last few meetings, being a trial that has turned out to be a reasonable reference regarding some other horses. But he did surprise me. I mean, I know he's run well to Sha Tin in the past, but I always thought, 1650 at Happy Valley, as Paul mentioned, was sort of his go. But surprising, these horses, they can acclimatise and then put in a few good runs and then have an off-season and then actually get even better, which is what he's done.
Yeah, Brett Preble, it's his first win of the season as well. Got a special from him, and a nice way to start with a trophy to celebrate. And of course, backed it up very quickly. He went race to race, didn't he? So he's off the mark. Handicap would be very pleased with himself in terms of the minor placings. They were right across the track. And speaking of the handicapper, this is what he's done with some of the winners.
Yeah, ratings from 5 to 9, so a pretty sort of even spread, wasn't it there? Citron Spirit, a good winner in the last race of the day. Chad Schofield had an outstanding day in the saddle. Silverfield got 9, and I thought he was probably one of the dominant wins of the day. A horse
2 for Michael Freedman on the day.
Yeah, well done to him,
2 for Michael Freedman from 3 runners. So yeah, he's well and truly on his way. But yeah, I thought Silverfield was quite an outstanding effort. He was a good horse as a young horse, but has had a lot of issues, suggesting that win that he could win again.
And Daring, he won nicely for the stable, up 7. So they had played around with the gear and they obviously worked with him. And Japon's 2 in a row.
Yeah. 2 in a row. Fantastic Fabio as well. Got that 8, so it just moved him out of Class 5.
Disappointments, Household King. He was eased out of it, so back to the drawing board with him. I think he pulled up with a minor abrasion or a cut, and that was about it.
It was, but he'll have to trial again, Paul.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, no, he will have to trial. Maybe second up. We'll see what happens after that. But there was no obvious excuse for him, was it?
All right, OK. Well, those are some of the big movers out of the weekend's action. Let's see if we can find you a winner going forward, though, with our horses to follow. Now, there's lots of interesting first starters on the weekend, Paul, and one in particular caught your eye.
Yeah, look, he'd run really well in New Zealand before he got here. He'd won his last 2 races, leading the whole way. They did run him back here on debut, and you can see he was just tucked in behind. I think this is going to be quite a good form race, this one. This is the one with you can see Super Fluke coming through and winning pretty easy, but there was a big bunch in behind them, and you can see Time to Celebrate just trying to poke his way through. He cuts back to the inside and hits the line, well, I thought really nicely. Steps up to 1,400 metres. I think he can improve pretty sharply. Just that last 50 metres was what caught my eye.
Definitely, yeah. I liked the way he found the line as well. I'm going to go shopping for a sort of lowly rated galloper, which I think is to his advantage in the future. Cheers Conqueror with Chris So. This, surprisingly to me, was only his 9th race start. He seems like he's been around longer than that. He is an ISG's by Ifraj, and he made up substantial ground. This is the race that was won by Endearing, who sat handy to the pace. I just like the way he closed off. In previous efforts, primarily at Happy Valley, a lot of the time he'd been ridden forward, and I thought just here he was ridden a bit quieter. He made up a solid amount of ground in the stretch, so, you know, 8 starts, 9 starts now. Maybe he's just starting to understand what this racing cape is all about.
All right, well, another horse who's, I think he'll be a dark horse next time we see him. He'll probably be in single figs in actual fact. Encounter came with a pretty good reputation from the UK. He was a German 2000 Guineas winner. His name was Knife Edge when he raced for Marco Botti there. He's had a couple of issues since he's been here. This is in the final race on the programme, of course. Citron Spirit was the winner. You can just see him getting back to the inside now. But just slowly, gradually, he's getting there, and he's surrounded by good horses as well. That's Keen Venture down the outside, Jolly Jolly just in front of him. So I think this is a strong race, and he's just getting there bit by bit. I don't think he's too far off.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's coming along nicely, isn't he?
All right, so we'll keep an eye on him. John Size. Sam Clipperton was in the saddle on that occasion. So I don't think we'll get 20 to 1 about him next time, but a win is a win. Moreira picked up a couple of days here on auto pay, failing to ride the mare out to the end of the race. It was a little bit... we gave him a few issues in the early part of the race as well, didn't he? Because he was very keen, had his head up as well. He's proving a bit troublesome.
He has been a little bit of a troublesome horse in his last couple of starts. So, yeah, Joe's out for a couple. All
right, OK. Give the chasing pack a chance to catch up as well. That's what happened then back on the weekend. As far as Wednesday's programme is concerned, well, the horse is not going around. White Magic is now replaced, and this is important as well, by Green Energy. Race 7, number 6, Green Energy now gets a start. And in race number 8, the last, Extremely Fun is out. It would have been one of the pace angles in there as well. Arm Runder now gets a jump. Sam Clipperton jumping on board there. So Wednesday night at Happy Valley, 8 races on the turf, and it's C+3 for the rail. We start off with a Class 4. It's over the 1,200 metres. Argentum first up. Matthew Poon takes 7 off from Barrier 7. Generous Bobo, who was a winner on the final day last season from Barrier 6. Forever Posh, blinkers go back on as he returns to the turf. The Legend, course and distance first time for him. Massive move, wide gate, but likes to roll and get down to Rugby Diamond. Another one likes to get going. He comes out of Barrier 12 though, Brett.
He does. Now, this is... the first 2 races for me are a little on the tricky side. Now, the good to fast is the expected pace here. Can Rugby Diamond cross over? That's the key. Can he get in front of Regency Honey and Jungle King? The Legend likely to race handier. Generous Bobo. Massive move. Also a little bit of a question mark there out in 10. Does he push on?
Argentum's track work will show 2 gallops from him. Here's the first one. He'll probably want longer, to be honest, and he has put on a little bit of weight, 37 pounds, but he's working okay.
Hasn't trialled either, so
no,
interesting.
With that weight increase. But he has had plenty of work, that's why I thought I'd show him. So this one's just a nice, slow one. He did win it fresh up last season, but here 1,200 does look a bit on the sharp side for him. He has never won over less than 1,400 before Argentum. Generous Bobo is going nicely. He's a horse who's been placed in Class 3. He should get a good run. We just saw him in the speed map. And Eddie Lai taking the mount on race day, just working with Lean Journey. Generally a good worker. He's a lower grade horse. And then they really set them out down the back straight as well. Gave him a really good blowout here. This was back on the 25th of September. I thought it was a nice piece of work from him, so I don't think he's too far away. Dennis Yip getting his horses going pretty early in the campaign. Jungle King. Another one that's only had the 1 start. He's dropped 10 pounds, so he's dropped a little bit of weight. He'd like you to go forward. I think he looks okay for dropping that 10 pounds as well.
Yeah, I think it was bad effort, was it? We'll have a look at that run from Sharty in a second or so. Let's start off, though, with Generous Bobo. We saw him there doing his track work. This is him on the track, 1,400 metres, back end of last season. He comes out on top.
He does, and when you look down at the form, it reads quite well because that horse to his outside is Auto Pay, who's been in the market at his last couple this season. And if you look right to the extreme outside, you've got Experto Crede and Good For You, and both those horses have run well this term also. Diamond Mysterious chasing up in the pink blinkers. He's a winner already this season. So it does read okay, the form line of this race. And I just kept coming back to it because he's only got £5 more to carry. It's not a strong race, and I was finding it difficult to get confident about anything else.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And he's been placed in Class 3 as well.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing, Paul, you just mentioned too, Dennis Yip up and about early.
Yeah.
I think he's had 13 out of 51 in the first 3. So his stable's going well.
All right, so he's a major player then. That is Generous Bobo. We talked about Jungle King. Let's have a look at him. This was his debut performance. Rugby Diamond got rolling. He'll be happier back at Happy Valley, and Look Eras as well.
Yeah, the thing with Jungle King, he's got a lot less convictions than a lot of these horses, only having the one start. We saw that bit of track work, so he seems to have come on. He's dropped 10 pounds. Just coming to Happy Valley is the key thing for him, but you know, he hit the line strongly enough. He can adapt to Happy Valley. I put him in on a place line. Yeah,
you'd expect him to improve. I think he's an interesting runner. There's a few in the race. I thought, look, Eris ran quite okay there. He didn't look overly attractive final stages, but he could be a little bit of an interesting runner potentially at a price too.
All right, well, I think Sam Clibden's got some interesting rides. Some of them might be at a big odds, but I think they've got each way shouts. One of them is Diamond Legend. Let's hear from Sam now.
Sam, you've had a bit to do with Diamond Legend. You rode him at his last start. He's getting down on the ratings. Is he getting down to the right level now to be able to win soon enough?
I think so for sure. He's probably just a horse that's taken a little bit of time to settle into Hong Kong, but his last run last season was huge. He, you know, over 1650, he loomed right up to win and hit the front at the furlong and only got pipped on the post. So that's a good indication that he's sort of the penny's starting to drop with the horse, and you know, I think this season we'll see his true potential.
You rode him in a trial recently. How's he come back this season?
Felt great. He just had a nice little quiet trial there on the dirt, and you know, he felt really good within himself. He wasn't out there to do much, but he went to the line on the bridle, and I think it's a nice little starting point for his preparation on Wednesday night.
Where do you see yourself in the run from that gate?
Well, he's drawn gate 11, so naturally I think we'll probably just drift back in the back half there somewhere. Give him a chance to travel, and you know, if he can travel throughout the run, I can see him hitting the line very well.
You mentioned that good run over 1650. Is that his right sort of distance?
Yeah, well, I think he'll easily get up to a mile, definitely. And I think you'll find this season he'll probably start performing very well at Sha Tin. He's quite a big, strong horse, so I think once he gets out to 1400 or a mile at Sha Tin, that's when we'll see his best.
Yeah, and getting back on the C+3 isn't the easiest place to be over the 1200 metres.
No, I was watching him a lot last season. He was a very progressive type from New Zealand. Mother went okay, Aqua D'Amour, but she ran over a lot further. So I'm just going to sit on the fence with him first up, but he's a horse I'll be watching closely for the term.
Yeah, wide draw. Wait till he gets up to 1400 to a mile for me.
All right, so who's in?
Very trappy race to start this one, but I'm going to go with Generous Bobo on top. World City's a horse we haven't talked about. He's drawn barrier 1. He should get a nice run. He's dropped 30-odd pounds coming in this. Has run second off a rating of 51 before. He's well rated coming to this race, so put him in for second. Jungle King will be on the pace, and we'll take a chance with the Legend. He's going to come up a bit shorter with Joe Moreira board. He's never, ever raced or trialled at Happy Valley, so that's always a little concern, but Joe Moreira is going to have a ride on him, so 210-4-8.
Very tough race to start with for me. I was perplexed and not sure which way to go. I ended up going with Generous Bobo, kept coming back to him. The convincing factors, Dennis Yip stable firing, and his first up record is outstanding. 6 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 1 fourth. Forever Posh back in trip, blinkers on, change of surface. Look Eras is going to be my long shot at the moment. That could be subject to change with the current price, and the Legend, 2, 5, 3 and 8.
Backpedaling already, we had one race.
I am perplexed.
All right, well, that's the opening event done and dusted with. We'll take a short break. Back with race number 2 again, up over the 1200 metres.